Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show. First of all, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are logging today and from wherever you are watching us and joining us around the world. Welcome back to Let's Energy with Saikat. When we talk about energy, it's very crucial to understand the transition, what we are talking about. We usually talk about solar panels, technology, wind turbines, and any other aspect of battery storage, but it's critical minerals as well, right? But the most important part is what is exactly driving the change? What is exactly the change that has been driven by some other elements which we don't usually talk about? Who is actually powering the energy transition? Because technologies don't adopt themselves, right? Policies don't invest or implement themselves, and communities don't automatically support change, but people do. So perhaps what we right now want is most overlooked pillar, which is its empowerment, right? So when we talk about empowerment, we always talk about it isn't just a discussion. It's about renewable energy. No, it's just about explanation of acceptance of climate. No, it's about reliving something which matters a lot, which is the people that matters a lot, right? And how these people are really improved all the time to make the transition and make those implementations for energy transition, for technology transition, and that's why it exists. So today we are exploring something rarely discussed together: energy and action for climate empowerment, and for which I would love to introduce someone very special. But before that, think about this: that if tomorrow every country had enough renewable energy, could the transition automatically succeed? I don't think so, and may not, because people need to understand it. Schools needs to teach it, and workers need new skills because new technologies comes with different kind of updates, as you can see in AI, right? And communities need trust in it as well. So young people need the opportunity, but the opportunities has been provided by many aspect of platform, and one of the platform we are talking about is ACE today, and we are entering the picture of ACE by someone very esteemed and who have been working in this area since a long time. And this is the perfect, perhaps no better person to help us understand this connection between today's guests, which is joining us, Roberta Ianna.
Thank you.
Roberta,
Thank you.
welcome. She is the senior advisor for Italian Ministry for Environment and Energy Security, and also the focal point for action for climate empowerment for Italy. Thanks a lot for joining. Over to you, Roberta.
Thank you very much, Saikat. Thank you very much for the introduction, the presentation, and the invitation to today's session. And indeed, it's my real pleasure to participate and to bring my experience into this ongoing dialogue with young people. I have been a climate change negotiator since the last 16 years now, and working as a climate change negotiator on capacity building and action for climate empowerment, as you just said. And I am the focal point, national focal point on action for climate empowerment. Actually, many people, unfortunately, doesn't really know yet what action for climate empowerment is, as we call it, is in reality, and how it deals with our daily life. And so thank you for organizing this kind of session and events, because it's really important to raise awareness. And actually, raising awareness is in fact one of the elements of ACE. The others being training, international cooperation, public access to information, public participation, and of course, environmental education. And actually, environmental education is the one that usually is most connected to ACE, but as said, it entails also the other elements, including raising awareness, which is very important. And this year is particularly important in the international dialogue on climate change, because on the ACE agenda item, we are discussing a new action plan, which will be in force for the next 4 years, and which will be negotiated and adopted by parties, but open, of course, to the input of organizations and other stakeholders. In fact, we started in June in
Mhm.
Bonn negotiating the new action plan. Um, it is based on the previous one, divided into 4 sections, and until October this year, it is possible to still send submissions to the Secretariat to contribute to the development of the text, which will be then discussed and adopted at COP31 in Antalya. And I have to say that, for example, it doesn't, so far, the current draft does not contain any reference to energy systems, or the approach to energy. But as said, there is still time to send submissions, and it's not about only the action plan having a reference to energy systems, but indeed having ACE more known in in uh, in the different part of the world as an important
Mhm.
tool, being informed on what is the status of the climate change discussion, and also with reference to energy systems. So not only for young people, but only all the citizens is important to be informed and have the chance to participate. I can bring some examples on what we are dealing with the issue in Italy.
Mhm.
In Italy, we developed what we call the PNIEC, which is the Integrated National Plan on Energy and Climate Change, and it is developed by the Ministry of Environment and Energy Security, together with the Ministry of Infrastructure and Transport. But after it is prepared, developed, it is also put on the website and open for comments for whoever wants to, organizations who want to provide their comments. And again, in terms of raising awareness and more than that, raising awareness and enhance participation for young people, together with Enel, which is the biggest energy provider in Italy. Actually, it was their initiative to set up what they call an academy, an energy academy hub with young people. Not only actually young people, but they are two young people selected from different companies and academia. So it's young people, but as representatives of their organizations, their universities, and together also with the ministry, this academy will see set a number of um, events to discuss very focused subject related to energy with young people, to really collect their ideas and instances to discuss with the policymakers. And I think this is a very good first step. Actually, the academy has just been established. It has been launched in on July 14, and there will be in October the very first event on demography and the issue of energy. And there will be a discussion with deans of
Mhm.
universities, our director general, and I think the input of young people will be very important. And as you said at the beginning, the most important thing is to really um, be aware of the importance of what the ACE elements are, and to really enhance participation. So it's not only a matter of having for a country the resources, but to have to have all the citizens, the young people, the stakeholders be on the same page and be informed and um, in the very end, because they will be, and we will be, the society will be making a behavioral shift to get to achieve the goals of the Paris Agreement.
Very
So it will be only if everyone really is aware of the need to achieve the goals of the
mhm.
Paris Agreement and adopt in everyday life a behavioral shift to get to it.
Definitely, like you told, amazing informations that the young people, especially for the energy people who are working in this sector, but also needs to. We really want to work in a synchronization with ACE because it's an action for climate empowerment, right?
Mhm,
But also some of the times what happen when we go through this chronologies like ACE and other climate chronologies and everything, it's very
mhm,
hard to find people who really knows about ACE, or it really find hard to for us, especially for the children and youth, they knows exactly how the articles are working, how the Paris agreements comes across and tells about the ACE situation, right? And probably most of the people don't know as well like the focal point exists, right?
mhm.
How would you explain ACE to someone who have never attended the climate conference? In one word, if someone just met you regarding entire structure, so that they can keen to be a part as well.
Good question. Well, well, if I have to use one word, like I would probably use education, even if every time we struggle to say, okay, ACE is not only about education, but
Uh-huh.
probably is the most comprehensive word, because education is related also to raising awareness, to develop, to enhance capacities, to the training, to the international cooperation. So probably education in a wider sense, not only related to school education, could be the right word. Indeed, I think that, well, ACE focal points needs really to be more and more active at national level. Not always that easy, I would say,
Yes.
because in many cases, as in my case, for example, I am the national focal point because I am the national ACE negotiator in the Italian delegation on climate change. And I am not, well, ideally, I think it would be good to have an ACE focal point from the education ministry. But then it's not the ministry participating on a regular basis on in the UNFCCC process,
Hmm.
and then it would become difficult for the focal point to really keep up with all the documents, the decisions, the terminology that we use in the process.
Yes.
Nevertheless, we are in touch with the Ministry of Education, and in every chance we have to familiarize the society, civil society, with the ACE concept. Of course, we are doing it. We organized, actually, it's already quite some years ago, but we organized in 2018 a national conference in Italy to disseminate exactly
Wow.
what ACE is, and we organized also a workshop for the ACE focal points of the Mediterranean region in that occasion, so to socialize more what ACE is
Yeah.
about. I really hope in the action plan we will adopt this year in Antalya, there could be something to empower even more national focal point to be more active, to influence the civil society of their countries. Indeed, the secretariat is struggling and doing a lot,
Hmm.
organizing at every session in Bonn, for example, a national focal points academy to take together the national focal points so that they can also know each other and really create
Correct.
an active network. I think that also Yango is doing a great job. Like this is a proof this very event we are in now, because what is most important is never stopping talking about ACE, and have more and more people informed. As we know, in the within inside the process in the UNFCCC, there is the ACE dialogue organized every year in June. There are
Mhm.
many events. There is during the COP the Youth and Education Dedicated Day, so it is all about ACE. But yet again, these are all things very much for people already in the process. What we need is really to take ACE and to take this discussion really outside as much as possible the COPs and the session in Bonn. So I guess the only way is keeping on talking, organizing events, webinar, and for example, another thing that we are doing as Italy, and I'm
Mhm.
mentioning, I'm very proud of it. We are partnering with the UNDP, and we are funding this initiative Youth for Climate, which
Yeah.
is funding projects of young people. So most of all is, of course, creating more and more awareness on climate change, but more than that, because in many occasions it's about talking how good it is to talk about raising awareness, how good it is to have young people participate. But then what also young people would really need is to be not only empowered with information, but also with economic tools to put in practice their ideas. So the Youth for Climate initiative every year is funding 50 projects of young people in different sectors, which we different under these different thematic areas, which are most generally they are changing. For example, this year we have as new thematic areas sustainable fashion and textile, and oceans and blue economy. But for example, there are also two thematic areas that are the same since the beginning, which are food systems, food and agriculture, and energy, because it's one, of course, a thematic area very important. Young people can have innovative ideas, and even beside the innovative ideas, because it's not only about like inventing new things, but it's also about like taking energy, making energy accessible
Correct.
where it is not.
Mhm.
So in many cases, we funded projects related to solar panels or renewable energy, which are like existing technologies. But the project as presented was taking this technology in a remote area, proving the impact on the community. So I'm very proud of this program that Italy is supporting. And with this year, we will reach 200 projects supported. No, every project is funded with $30,000.
Wow.
And in
A really
every
nice
February.
budget. Yeah, really nice one.
Yes, yes. Actually, we are lucky we could partner with the UNDP, because and as so the ministry is the donor, but the UNDP is really like doubling the effort made by the fund provided, because it's not only about selecting good projects,
Correct.
but also about monitoring the development and provide assistance. And even before that, the program, the Youth for Climate, as a web platform where to really train people and help people also to submit successful projects. So it's in February every year that we launch the call for solutions, as we call it, and basically is usually open from February to April.
Mhm.
And then there is the selection process, which is now just finished, and we will announce in October the new 50 awarded projects. So and it would be like a dream if in every country there could be such an approach, like having dedicating
True.
some funds to youth developed and
Developments.
led
Yeah.
projects.
No,
Yes.
definitely. Like as you said, I know many projects right now on ground. People, children, youth, all of them are running, and they need severe funding as well. Like, the products are
Mm,
amazing, the services are amazing, and the vision
mm,
that are looking, they are also like fantastic phenomenon. But always they lag behind is the funding process. The thing that Italian ministry doing with the UNDP, phenomenon, amazing.
Mm,
Um, in a case that okay, we have a huge group and members of energy in the youth working group for energy, right? So for them, if they wants to be a part of ACE, right, how
mm,
to start their journey? It's not that they can just be inside in the middle, right? Because I'll talk about the action plan of yours that you talk about, like what exactly happened and how to be involved, what to
mm,
expect for COP31. But before that, if someone wants to start their career, or maybe not the career, at least an information that okay, we want to provide our inputs into ACE as well, and ACE
mm.
articles for the Paris agreements and everything, where should we start
Well, at the beginning, I guess there is quite a lot to study
from?
because it's a very complicated process, the UNFCCC one. I would say that to me, I think for the first 2, 3 years, it was very, very complicated.
True, true.
Because as you know, it's all acronyms, but
Yes.
even just physically, like moving around, looking for the rooms, keeping up with the different agendas because there are mandated event, negotiations event, or
Plenaries,
rooms.
high level event,
Yes, yeah.
consultations.
So
Oh my god, yeah.
so yes, well, of course, the experience or to go through a first period of disorientation, I think is necessary. I know that since a few years now, the UNFCCC Secretariat is organizing exactly an orientation session at the beginning of every COP. So for those who have the chance to join a COP in person, there are this kind of um, side events, let's call it. It's an orientation session. If not, if it is not possible to participate in person, of course, young people can join the Yango constituency and be in the loop of the information, even if not without joining. And as I said, even just following from outside, but getting familiar with the documents, because in the end, everything is available on the UNFCCC website. If you go now, you can find, for example, the draft action plan for ACE that we discussed in June and that we will continue to discuss in November in Antalya. So it is still possible for registered organization, but even for observers and the registered organization to send submissions with inputs and comments that will be taken into consideration by the secretariat and then will be discussed. Not only, of course, not everything, of course, will be then integrated in the action plan, but for sure it will be discussed. And other than that, I would say more and more COPs are really becoming like huge events with different pavilions,
Mm,
not only country pavilions, but also thematic pavilions. I know, for example, there is a pavilion. Well, of course, there is the youth dedicated pavilion. There's the one dedicated to cities and regions, so the subnational level. And there is also one on the Mediterranean. There is one on digital and innovation. So um, wherever it is like the starting point for young people trying to get in touch also with the different thematic pavilion, even also with the proper the country's pavilion. For example, again in Italy, we will have a pavilion at COP31,
yes.
and until this, so it will be Monday, August 10th, it is possible to submit side event proposals. Of course, so for, well, we will, it's open to, of course, Italian organizations, companies, and public administrations. I would say that every pavilion could accommodate, I would say, up to 50 side events in the 2 week, because considering that you can fit 5 side events per day, and the COP is lasting at least 10 days, not considering, of course, the Sundays.
Yeah, the
So
rest days and everything in the
it's
middle.
it's up to 50. So we are now in the process of receiving submissions, including from young people, but not at individual level, of course, but
Hmm.
from universities, youth-led organizations. We have also, for example, well, WWF, Save the Children, UNICEF. But okay, these are like the super big ones. But there are also smaller organizations. And now that I think, I have to say that in the past, so it's not really true that it's closed for us, the pavilion, in principle, to individuals. The point is that now, with the years, it became like more and more uh, mm, populated, the pavilion. So we are receiving more and more proposals. So in the past years, we were able to accommodate also. I remember, for example, exactly a young people having his he was having his PhD, and so he proposed. A side event in which he was presenting the research of his PhD with a couple of other person, and we had it. We display this side event. Today, I know it is more difficult because we received so many proposals, so that we also have like to merge some of them. If we receive different proposals from universities, we try to put them together in order to have more space to accommodate all
Mm.
the requests. But I think so. Not only one approach, to go back to your initial question, how to approach this like this word. One way is of course joining the negotiation, following the negotiation, and even participate into the negotiation with submissions, with participating in events, but also for everything else that is at COP, like the pavilions, the side events, because it's still a way to also create a network and get to know and get to have more information and become like a part of the system.
No, true. As you said about the during the COP, within 2 days, there's also an introductory session for how ACE works and what
Mhm.
exactly happens. I remember that 2 years back, I was one of the moderators, so I was moderating that session for
Mhm.
ACE, and it was quite phenomenal to understand how the entire structure has been created, so that people who are new as well, they understand
Mhm.
what is going on, where to
Mhm.
get involved, what are the other, like, action agendas, what are the points that they can be involved in as well.
Mhm.
Several departments comes together and tell what exactly we need to know, for
Mhm.
especially for the children and youth. And yes, the secretary are doing amazing work on the same.
Mhm.
And as we say, there there is always a misconception in any aspect, if you say, according to the according to the economic times as well. It says that fifth most dangerous thing in the world is information and disinformation, right? What kind of biggest misconception that you found out in ACE, which always hinders the support, and it creates a problem in terms of explaining to the people that what exactly ACE is?
Yes, as we like briefly mentioned already, is the idea that ACE is about like environmental education in schools, and that's it. And it is not only that. Of course, it is very important because again, if we want to achieve a real behavioral shift of the global civil society, we need to start in schools. We need to start to educate children, but of course it's not enough, and it's not what ACE is about in its entirety, because as I said also before, education can have a much wider uh, meaning about educating also older people and providing information. And again, yes, as you mentioned, misinformation is now, since also the COP30, with the initiative launched by the Brazilian government, it's becoming a priority, because indeed it is true that can create lots of like opposite
Yes.
behavior of
Mhm.
what we would like to see. So misinformation, it's a very important challenge we have to overcome. And again, talking about ACE, we have to be successful in educating people that it's not only about education, but
Very
it's
true.
also about public participation and raising awareness. I would say it seems something very obvious talking about raising awareness,
Yes.
but then you have to really act to raise awareness, like
Yes.
organizing event, developing materials, and in a very a precise way, again, not to create misinformation. So I would say this is the most important aspect of ACE.
And when we talk about the implementation and how we act upon, I think SB's 64 was one of the challenges as well. How ACE has to be implemented, because every discussion points where all the parties come together, there's always a challenge of adopting the text, right? So from
Mhm.
SB 64, we know that most of my colleagues from Yongo as well, they've been working day and night for providing some inputs and how to draft the text, which is the plan as well, the action plan. Um, can you provide us some of the inputs, like how to, what to expect from that action plan, and what exactly been cooking till now? Mhm.
Actually, well, um, I can tell you so the challenges that we have and what I would like to see. Then, well, as you know, am talking. So I'm part of the Italian
Yes.
delegation. With that, it is part of the EU delegation. So we have
Mhm.
to be aligned in our
With the you.
request
Yes. Yes.
with the EU. And usually, in the negotiation process, there
Mhm.
is always uh, it's not a competition, but it's developing countries and developed countries, and the developed countries are like trying to limit new the establishment
True.
of new initiatives, of
Mm.
new sources of fundings, and but there is indeed the need. And so for what I really hope for the action plan is that it will give at least some, if not all the actions, like being very concrete,
Mhm.
but that there will be something really um, that can, starting from the national focal points, give them the power at national level to really do something, because the very limit of I would say of all the UNFCCC dialogue is the fact that talking every time at a global level, you cannot really go too specific into
Yes.
real cases and how to solve them. You really
Grassroots
always
level.
stay, yes, you stay always talking in general, talking. And so also the action plan, because it has to be applied
Mhm.
at a global level, it has somehow to stay general, and it cannot really mandate parties to enforce actions that are maybe even not under the competence of the ministries involved in the negotiation. Nevertheless, there must be something, there can be action that can really be implemented in parties. It can be is even specified in the action plan, that they
Mhm.
can be implemented even on a voluntary basis by parties, but really in encouraging parties to really achieve concrete results in terms of ACE. I know it's always difficult in the negotiation
Oh,
enter
definitely.
into discussion, like talking
Mhm.
about indicators and
Yes.
talking about concrete outputs. But indeed, we need to find a balance between the need of staying general enough and the one to really focusing more on some concrete results.
And in general, when we are moving ahead with a lot of agendas and processes, this COP 31 in Antalya, November.
Mhm.
Any expectations from your side that can happen in ACE, or a really a pressing challenge that you want to be removed from this area of negotiation, so that a particular adoption of ACE plan should be there?
I think, well, actually, I was surprised in June. We already drafted an action plan. We were able to produce a first draft, which is not too long. I didn't participate myself
Mhm,
in the designing of the gender action plan,
mhm,
which I know was very much more complicated. I would say for the ACE one, on one end, I'm happy that we are already having a first manageable draft. I can
mm,
say it could be a bit more ambitious. I
yeah.
cannot be well. We are not the ones like pushing for like more actions, but they are really have to be effective. So unfortunately, I have not all the answers, but I'm confident that meeting in Antalya this year will really help us to refine more. And I would say. Of course, every time in COPs, parties are encouraged to close decisions as soon as possible. In the case of an action plan, I would say I hope that people will take the necessary time, even if it will mean to go to the next year, because it's really important. Because then it will last for 4 years. So even if we have only few very
Yes.
concrete action, because again, what is difficult is to task. You cannot really task all the parties to do something, but then in the end, it become like only like the secretariat compiling a report, the secretariat organizing a workshop, which is nice, but it's not really advancing ACE in the world.
Yes.
It's doing stuff for ACE within the process, again, which is good, like having workshops in the ACE dialogues every year. But there could be something more that we could do.
No,
So I
in
don't
fact, I
have
think,
the right
yeah.
answer now, but
No, no, you
uh,
you give us literally a long, like, amazing
mm,
answers on that. In
mm,
fact, we got to understand as well, like, how the as you talked about the gender action plan, few of my colleagues who works with the within UNFCCC as well, I've
mm,
seen them, like, drafting the text for since day and night. So busy they were during the SBs as well, and
mm,
when it was over, when it was submitted, I've seen a
mm,
smile in their face. So I can
mhm,
definitely assure you assure you that, okay, it was
yeah,
a complicated process that they did, and you guys are doing amazing in the A section. Really,
yeah.
really amazing work. Like,
Yeah.
applaud for that.
Actually, and to add maybe what could be one aspect to increase in the current draft is the aspect of capacity building. So
Mm,
find a way to um, encourage different channels for capacity building, not only within the process, but again outside the process, to take capacity building in the real world, let's say, to the society, to young people that are not in the loop of the UNFCCC, but for example, so capacity building, mandating national focal points, for
yes,
example, to report on the capacity building they are providing or they are coordinating.
true.
This could be probably something that could be useful.
No, in fact,
Um,
it's true. Just because I think UNFCCC also have a wing which is called the PCCB network,
mhm,
the
mhm.
Paris Committee for Capacity Building,
Yes.
and Energy Working Group is very actively part and being a, like, partner with them, and they're doing fabulous in terms of connecting few aspect of energy. Like, they have the energy cluster they started, and other segments as well, like cross cutting capacity building. I think ACE can also, like, be a part, and a collaboration can happen where they're actually, like, going from the systems, between the systems, to outside the system as well. with capturing the grassroots projects. First of all, giving a knowledge that okay, if somewhere a project is going on, how to record the knowledge and transfer the
Mhm.
skills and the knowledge as well in a matchmaking scenarios. So might be a case it can happen, but I'm definitely for sure it is also still happening in
Mhm.
ACE till now. It's just the case it has to be scale up, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. And yes, a good example, the PCCB network, because indeed is it's something actually that is growing, and it started with a network of organizations outside the process, but involved in capacity building, and they were organizing webinar like on behalf of the PCCB, and now they are more and more involved in the process. There was a PCCB network meeting also in Bonn at SB64,
Mm,
and
mm,
exactly for ACE and with the all different organization dealing with raising awareness, education um, can be really effective. This kind of
yes.
approach.
No, in fact, when we were in the dialogue as well this year in
Mhm,
SB's 64, we've seen
mhm,
several aspects of implementation factors, which is like
mhm,
they have the technology, they have the knowledge. It's just how to cater the knowledge into a productive situation on ground. So this is where they have to give a push. And many countries where the project has been done or similar kind of project has been done, or any organization who wants to give us resources, they can be
mhm,
match make together. And of course, like
mhm,
they can help each other together just to know the knowledge, but also like the transfer the skills, how can then implement together those kind of projects. And this is how
mhm.
we scale up. I think
Yes,
this was a good example this year I saw during the PCCB as well. And in
yeah.
ACE, do we say that I can see a lot of advocacy in ACE during the time of UNFCCC in COP or maybe in SBs. But when, as you said, when we go outside of SBs or
Mhm.
outside of COP, there is very difficult to understand who are actually working in ACE and how to be get involved on those sectors and parameters.
Yes, yes, indeed.
In fact, so when we connect the dots, as energy is also one of the parameters that we are talking. So when government designs national energy strategy or national
Mhm.
plans or policies, they eventually also forget sometimes many of the policies don't have the capacity building or skill training um, policies. Where
Mhm.
what lags? We have the technology, we have few people who knows about the technology, but when it has been implemented on ground, there are very less technicians, mostly the
Mm.
technicians, who can help. And then
Yes.
what happens? Residents, people who are on ground, they using those technology, they have to suffer just because
Mm.
there is no people who can help them when
Mm.
when it gets the point of maintenance, or when it
Mm.
it gets the point of availability of technicians, or the people who actually knows about this technology. So do you
Mhm.
think ACE can also help in those aspects where we are going outside of the country as like UNFCCC, but we are going inside the national plans and national strategies, and ACE can
Yes.
help in this kind of transfer, technical transfer?
No, absolutely. And starting from the NDCs, I think there is also when they count how much a subject is
Mm,
mentioned in
mm,
NDCs, ACE as well is not very much mentioned. But again, to achieve a final goal of for the implementation of the Paris Agreement, first of all, people has to know why we are doing something. So the final aim. So because even before training people to use the technology, they should be fully informed of why are we using this technology and
technology,
to
yes.
achieve what. So why using renewable energies, because they are less impactful on the environment rather than fossil fuel. So once people knows why we need to shift to renewable energies, they are more keen to use them. And then of course they have to be trained and to really understand how to use the technology. I think also there will be a lot more. It is already so, but there will be more and more discussion around, the artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence is used now by like everyone every
Everyone.
day,
Mm,
but not many people is aware of how much it is impacting on energy systems, how much
correct.
energy it requires to
Yeah.
work.
Also
So
the
people,
pressure on water
in fact,
usage and everything,
in
land
fact,
usage.
so if people is informed about that, can first of all maybe use it more wisely, and then again become more aware of what is behind, and so the need to use safe and renewable energy systems, and so everything that is behind. And with the energy crisis and the increasing demand of energy, this will be really a pressuring issue to tackle. And
Oh,
again, with the taking into consideration the problem of misinformation, um, because this could influence as well behaviors.
no, definitely. I think few days back we had the conference of under AI Summit.
Mhm.
So in Geneva. So there
Mhm.
was also a case that most important was the land usage, how the land is becoming like a kind of heat up. So it's like a
Mhm.
island,
Mhm.
heat island scenarios. The the data center itself takes at least
Mm.
30% of the energy from the grids to just run itself,
Yes.
right? And also the water. So you have to
Mm.
desalinate the water, you have to make itself as a coolant, and then you have to use it. So this is how the fast pace the entire AI scenario is going. It took us, I
Yes.
think, 100 years for the entire industrial revolution, but the AI revolution take only 6 years, might be 5 to 6 years mostly. And you can see the pace of AI that have been into every household, every phones, every children and youth. I think the children are right now like learning AI from the like really mid level, or you can say like from the starting as well from the of their life. But this is how we see that there is no governance till now. And ACE can also work in one of the impact parameter for paving that way for how people should understand the governance. As you said, usage with the proper ethical and responsible manner. So might be a case ACE can also like provide us good example on that parameter.
I don't know if maybe just like brainstorming with you. I'm thinking
Mm,
again about the action plan, like maybe even more important than having the secretariat compiling a report on its
mm,
activity. There could be the preparation, even a publication, or thinking on how to really provide this information to the outside, to provide, I don't know, to prepare.
exactly.
Um, a simple, I would say, a manual, a toolbox for young
Yes,
people outside the UNFCCC process to be disseminated to. This could be maybe something, in fact, even more useful than a report on what is being doing every year by parties to implement ACE, because it is done anyway and it is already reported in every party's national communication every 4 years. So
hmm,
maybe the action plan could focus more on really how to reach the outside of the process, how to
correct.
really um, inform people and develop capacities of people to be more and more aware of energy systems and the relation to climate change, and what could be the best behavior uh, to be sustainable.
Very nice idea, actually. Last year, what we did, when this year as well, I'm the contact point for last year. I was the contact point alone. So at the time, I came with the idea that when I've been working in this area, like the energy and the UNFCCC since a long time now, I think there is always a situation where people don't understand the connection between one system to another, or one year to other, or one COP to others, and also then understand the connection between energy or any other thematics, how it comes to COP, right? And when they go to any speaking scenario that they have to speak in terms of energy, but also they have to speak about in terms of COP, maybe just not about the COP, but also to understand in global aspect that what is this capacities, renewable capacity, what are the other capacities going on. Some of uh, some of the, you can say, lesson learned from many activities which has been done in many other countries, success stories and this kind of stuff. So I started to make a team. The team was fantastic. Like so they have like section managers. So the entire module was divided into sections. So one section is UNFCCC, one section is like technology, section is like education, and section is like how we connect everything together. And then we made an energy book. It's called the energy handbook, right? And the energy handbook, the team did a fantastic job. Like I can't say like they oh my god, day and night they have worked on it, the research they have done. And when it was ready, that book gives us everything. So anyone wants to go anywhere right now, they literally just ask, where is the handbook? So they go to the handbook, they find the solutions. Okay, these are the solutions, these are the problem, these are the capacities, and how we connect with the UNFCCC. So right now we don't have to do too much of capacity building every time. We just send it. Okay, this is the handbook, and it was been also shared by the PCCB network as well in their entire network. So it was a nice idea, and we launched it during the virtual COP. You were one of the speaker as well for virtual COP last year. So yeah, quite nice to see that. Okay, the ideas actually resonates, and we are looking ahead for that idea. How you come up with?
Yeah, in fact, it can be that in the action, because uh, so to make people aware, people including like the negotiators, it could be also a Yango submission, a Yango proposal, like to equip all the national focal points with the energy handbook. And maybe even other materials, so to
Mm,
create a sort of like repository of materials that
yes.
starting
Wow.
from national focal points, they will be required to disseminate in their countries. I think this could be feasible. It would
Mm,
not like require like resources or particular commitments. So it's in the power of the national focal point, but it would be like also important to use the same adopted tools, such an handbook developed by Young. So this could be already, for example, a concrete action, I think, in the action plan.
Totally amazing idea. Because of course everyone is working in the same pace, and we already have the resources. Why not to use the resources in one pace? Amazing. Yeah, that's a really nice idea. Because young in energy working group as well, in other working groups, they have also made their handbooks and other submissions, and those submissions are like technically feasible, policy wise feasible, and it can be used. Because either way it has been done by several people, like not just one or two, thousands of youth across the world who are working in the same area. So might be a case using that knowledge will also give us a motivation to work on the same pace. Okay, okay, whatever we are doing, it has been used. And thanks a lot, Roberta, for coming up with fantastic idea.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, just coming up to your role, Italy has made a remarkable progress in renewable energy. Uh,
Mhm.
as a part of ACE, but also a part of a person who has been working in this energy sector, renewable sector. What lesson we can learn from Italy? Like what you saw in Italy has been done different, where it became one of the really good example in progress.
Well, on this, like beside like the initiative we are doing, like to promote youth participation, I think Italy is on the same page as other countries where now I think it is clear to everyone that there is not a solution that would like a kind of an energy source that can be the solution for everything. In the
Hmm.
future, it will be about using the right mix of
Correct.
renewable, because it's not like it's not only solar power, it's not only wind power. In Italy now we started a discussion about nuclear power. It
Hmm.
was banned years ago, and
Yes.
now the discussion is again on the table, because given the technological innovation,
The
it might
demand.
be possible to have a safe nuclear power. Of course, it will take time. It
Hmm.
will take like years and years, but the discussion has started, because now it's clear to everyone that it will not be like electric car solving the problems. It's not it is about having a mix of all the
Mix of
different
energy. Yes.
yes
Correct.
possible sources of energy. So in this sense, I know. So the discussion has started. I think it is a good thing, at least, to discuss options.
Correct.
Um, I don't know how it will go, and for sure, everybody knows already that it will take like not only years but decades
Decades. Yeah.
in case of a nuclear power,
Hmm.
like the new, like building new
Preparations and
plants, etc.
implementations and plans and everything. It takes time,
Yes,
but at
but
least you
again,
have started the discussion, so
yes,
it
at
does matter.
least, yes, yes.
Uh, Thanks a lot, Roberta, for the entire time. So what we'll do before we leave, we do one special segment with every guest of ours. It's called the fun segment, right? And for the fun segment, we always ask some questions, like, it's a rapid fire, and then we tell that, okay, you have to select two options primarily, or maybe one or both. So for you, it's differently catered according to the ace and energy, right? So I'll tell you some options, right? So some of the technology or maybe other things, and you have to tell primarily if it's a problem of ace, it can be solved by ace, or it's a problem of both ace and energy, or singularly energy, right? So I'll start, and it's a rapid fire, so you have to give me fast answers. Correct? So let's have fun together. And the first one is solar,
Solar energy.
wind,
Well, energy, but again, I know, but both, because
both.
it's not only about that. You really need to inform people, and yes, both.
Perfect. Wind. Sorry. So
But
school,
ace,
teachers,
ace,
community,
ace,
and ownership,
ace,
public participation,
ace.
grid expansion,
Great expansion, ace, and also energy,
both.
both.
Climate literacy,
Sorry,
climate
climate
literacy,
literacy, ace, ace,
ACE, energy efficiency,
ace. Yes, ace, both, ace,
and the youth councils,
ace.
ACE. Fantastic. So right now it will be very rapid fire, right? So you have to come up.
Okay,
So
okay.
one word for each, right?
Hmm.
So one word, whatever I'll say, you have to say one word for each of them, correct?
Hmm.
So one word for climate,
Challenge,
hope or urgency for energy.
ace.
Okay. Technology or people for education.
Capacity building.
Ah, power or empowerment.
But sorry, I have to choose one of the two. I
Yes,
didn't.
yes. Power or
Sorry, sorry.
environment. So power or empowerment.
Empowerment, empowerment,
Okay.
empowerment.
Okay. Youth.
Youth empowerment.
Okay.
Okay.
Future or presence for the most important youth.
Present.
Uh-huh. Most underrated climate tool till now.
Ace.
That's true. Biggest opportunity before COP31.
Submissions for Ace.
Ah, nice.
Sorry.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, sorry. I might not have understood well so where I had to choose, because but it was fun.
It was fun. No, you did great. You did great. In fact, the answers that you gave me without understanding as well, it was totally perfect. So
Okay,
it was
thank
totally
you.
perfect. So that's why I
Thank
was
you.
like, oh my god, okay, it
Thank
fits the purpose.
Thank
So
you. And I
of
want to
course,
explain, when you asked about youth, whether future or present,
yeah.
I know, like, the narrative is always about youth being the future of the planet, or but they are the present, because young people are present now, and they have the energy.
So true.
Talking about energy, I think they also have the enthusiasm and the energy to really um, participate in the dialogue
True.
on climate change, and
Everywhere it's
provide.
always the leaders for tomorrow, tomorrow. But
Mm,
we are not the leaders for tomorrow. We are the leaders for today. Then we can
yes,
you know, action plan accordingly, and we can propose what would be done for future to save it.
Abso- Absolutely.
But today's discussion reminded us one something very important, that the energy transition isn't just simply about replacing one source of
Mm,
energy with another, but it supports how people can participate in change, because
mm,
renewable energy and of course the many other aspects of power and grids, but empowerment people is important. The
mm.
people are the most crucial aspect, where Roberta told us. And thank you so much for joining this session. It was a pleasure learning from your experience and exploring how ACE can empower us, not just the side of conversation, but also I think today's conversation was morely into action orientation and knowledge and a fun discussion.
Thank you so much. But because I really want to thank you for your passion and what you are doing year by year, because again, even the virtual COP was and it was amazing. And well, it was, even if it was like with COVID that we started, to get
Yes.
video calls, but the virtual COP is another step forward. And it's really useful because you can really arrive everywhere virtually, and in order to disseminate and create more awareness is crucial. So thank you for what you are
No,
for all
thanks
the
a lot for
innovative
coming
tools.
actually.
Thank you.
No, I think the virtual co-op, the main idea was to experience how you walk around the co-op, how you
Mm,
get frustrated with where the events are, what there was the things going on. So this is what was replicated, and people liked it. So
a
thanks a lot
lot.
for being a part. And I hope this year as well you will be a part, which we are
Mhm,
humbly requesting,
mhm.
and we will share an email as well with all the
Thank
updates,
you.
and then we will look forward it to it.
We'll be really glad to participate. Thank you.
And to all the viewers, thank you so much for joining. Be with us tomorrow as well. We have such an amazing another great leader
Mhm,
coming tomorrow. So she's from European Commission and one of the former European Commission for DG for energy, and she's also the recent DG for the trade right now, Ditti
mhm.
Jules Jurgen. So we'll be looking ahead for this discussion as well. And as I said, thanks a lot, Roberta, for making our day, for making the information really
Thank
accessible
you.
for